Okay, right, so I think we're good to go. Let's just shut down some bits and pieces. Okay, so welcome to the anybody who decides to join the stream. Right, so this is a stream. I'm building a game called Fleet Commander. Where did we get to in the last session? We were creating the game, and basically what we'd done was create some code that created some ships, some hard-coded situations, and here you can see what the output that we've got so far. So we've got three views. We've got the situations view, we've got some ships here, and we've got the academy with our junior ensigns in it. So what have we got here? We've got the game definition. So res format at, and then a name like this is an element. This is the game element. There's only one of these. An element composed of attributes and values. Name is a value, the colon is the separator, string value, number values. We can have ID values. So this is saying that initial scene ID has the value, the ID of SC Situation Room, and content template values. These three backticks here say that this is a content template. Inside content templates, we have HTML markup, and we have these little expressions like content here to say interpolate something into the template. In this case, interpolate the value of the content expression in the context of a game that is the contents of the current scene. You can see we start with SC Situation Room. So if we go find SC Situation Room, you can see here it has a layout. So content of the game is the layout of the scene. Again, it's a template, and it's got its own content, which is a card. And you can see here we've got initial card ID, and it's the IDC situations. So you can see we're presenting to HTML and we're embedding the card. This card C situations is going to be down here, and this has got a content template expression that's interpolating some stuff to put it in here. And what we end up with is these three things here. And we've got the same thing for ships and the same thing for academy. So we have three scenes in this game. We've got the situation room, we've got the academy, and we've got a bunch of stuff here. Now, in the last stream, I had some very poor naming. One of the things I've done off stream is create some better lists. So we've got some lists here. So male names, you can see we've got quite a number of male names. We've got female names, and again, we've got a decent selection of obviously sort of typically not necessarily English, but I guess you'd say it's Western names. We've got some family names. Again, these are sort of Western names. And at some point, we might try and broaden this out a little bit more. I used GPT for giving me names of people. We've also got, when we get to the end of these, we've got system names. So I came up with some rules for system name grammar, and I generated about, I think there's about 300, maybe slightly more, maybe 500 system names. And then we've got some rules for some ship names. And there's, although I've implemented two of them, there's 4 strategies for making ship names. So we've got some naming lists. And these are used, for example, the academy is going to generate cadets. We've got a shipyard for making ships. We've got a fleet that ships can go in. So a bit of lore here. We have the Trans-Solar Federation, who are the main faction, TSF. And indeed, Res has support for factions, so we can make a faction, TSF. Okay, which doesn't really serve any great purpose right now, but it does allow us to refer to them where we want to. We could in fact give these, put the prefix in here, and have a faction ID here, FTSF. And we can make the prefix a property, get rid of that space, return this.faction.prefix. That should still work. Now, one of the other things we've done is we've really sped the compiler up. So the compiler now runs really quite quick. That should mean that ships... Oh, that's bugged. Okay, well now you get to see how debugging works with a Res app. So Res turns into a JavaScript application. What's this? This is a fleet. This .faction is empty. Why is it empty? It's empty because it hasn't been initialized yet. There are some issues about initialization, which I've never really needed to fix. Okay, just moving that there seems to... Oh, no. What am I talking about? Different place. So the problem is this .faction isn't set yet. Actually, that's odd. This .faction ID is. Okay, there's an odd little problem, but I think what we're going to do is put this back to here, get rid of this, and we'll solve that another time. Right, so we have created a few things. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start splitting up the game a little bit. It's becoming a little hard to read. Actually, let's call this Academy. Let's call this Fleet. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some of the code that's in here. So this SC ship list, this ship list card, I'm going to grab that, I'm going to stick that in Fleet. And we're going to call this now SC Fleet. We'll need to go back and change that somewhere. SC Academy and the Officer List card, we're going to put in Academy. And then we've got the Situation Room, which we're going to move into Situation Room. And then here, Ship List now becomes SC Fleet. And then we're going to include these. So this is the include macro. So we've got Scenes, Academy, Scenes, Fleet, and Scenes, Situation Room. So what we're going to do is we're going to include those from there. And everything is still working. Good. Okay. So we've got the sidebar content here, which is shared. I made these situations here. So this card here can go in the Situation Room. Like so. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move this stuff here for officers. Maybe this can live here for now. Right. So I've been working a little bit on the lore of the game. And so we're going to say that we are in the beta sector. And there's a gateway. So humanity discovers a gateway. that links what gets called the alpha sector to a new sector of space. Nobody knows who built the gateway. Its technology is inscrutable. It's self-repairing and apparently self-powered. It connects to a region of space that is completely separate, with no known star references, and beyond the range of any plausible drive system. So we've got this volume of space, the beta sector. So humans have been coming through the gate and settling the planets nearest to Gateway. The Gateway system has become well developed. So we have this system, Gateway, which has got a station, shipyard, and a planet, which is being colonized. Let's say well colonized. Okay. Other factions have come through. So Hyades Mining Corporation. Let's say Independent Colonial Force. We've got the TSF. Force is the wrong word. The idea here is that these are sort of, this is kind of pilgrims. You may, so other influences. I'm quite influenced by Star Sector. There's one thing in particular that I intend to just steal straight up from Star Sector, and that's story points. If you've not played Star Sector has these things called story points, which you accumulate as you play, and they basically let you bend the story to your will. So, for example, if you get intercepted by a pirate fleet, say, and you look at them and you think, there's no way I'm going to take them, you can spend a story point to escape. This gives you bonus XP within the game, but in principle, its main purpose is, boom, you escape them. Story points let you bend the narrative. So you might decide to have the fight anyway, because obviously if you can destroy the pirates, there's goodies to be got from looting them. But if you're busy in the middle of doing something, like, I just don't want this fight right now, you can just go get rid of them. So I love this notion of story points, and that will be in here. Pilgrims here, I'm thinking we've got this gateway, and the settled systems of the alpha sector. So the TSF has helped colonize a large portion of the alpha sector. And you can imagine that although the TSF is a sort of a force that holds the alpha sector together, there are other factions in there. And the power of the TSF is less in the beta sector. Because its forces are elsewhere. So we have these other factions coming through, and the threat of TSF reprisals keeps those other factions sort of under control. So they may be a little wayward, but they don't do anything too much, because the TSF could send a massive military force through the gateway and come crush them. But the inciting incident of the game, you are a senior military commander on a tour of inspection of Gateway System with a small fleet. When the Beyonders strike and knock out the Gateway, trapping you and a chunk of humanity on the wrong side of the galaxy. So here's the inciting incident. This is what's just happened. This means you have Gateway Station, planet, and its facilities, and a small force of ships to try and keep control of things while you re-establish the Gateway itself. So this is the game. So you have to use your forces well and develop a cadre of officers to keep control of the sector. Now, we have two other things. So we have the Beyonders. So the Beyonders, a race of aliens of unknown origin who lurk somewhere in the beta sector and are not happy about the incursion of humanity into their space. And we have the Precursors, an extinct, can't spell it, extinct, I don't think that's right either, good God, can't spell it, extinct, I forget if that's the right spelling, race of aliens, possibly the builders of the gates. And I'm trying to decide whether the Precursors the Beyonders worship the Precursors, want their technology, that is for sure, and want to avoid the humans getting access. So this inciting incident, a discovery of a Precursor site, by the humans. So the inciting incident is in two parts. We have the discovery of the first Precursor site by TSF, and then you come along with your ships, and then the Beyonders knock out the Gateway. And they don't like, now in my mind, this is an AI species. The TSF is anti-AI. Humanity uses technology, but sentient machines are outlawed. Okay. So this is kind of the lore here. This is going to be, so we have the main plot, and we have a second plot. Precursors, the main plot is the Beyonders. And then we have side plots, which are the situations. So this is kind of how I see the game playing out. You have to discover and combat the Beyonders. You have to discover who the Precursors were and exploit their technology. And then you have to keep peace among the human and allied alien factions that have settled through the gateway. So the idea is we have a set of factions. Another influence for me is Adrian Tchaikovsky. So what do we say? Influences are Out of the Park Baseball 3. I get that's kind of a weird influence. We've got Star Trek, the original game, and I guess the TV show. And then we've got the Final Architecture series of books by Adrian, God help me if I spell his name, Tchaikovsky. The Final Architecture series of books, which is maybe not a direct, but there's something about the spread of humanity in that game that I think is quite appealing in this kind of Earth is gone, humans are spread across the galaxy, and there are other sort of non-human, they make quite good use of sort of non-human races who are kind of allied to humanity. And in that we have the originators. So again, here we've got this notion that there are some factions. There's kind of a pilgrim faction. Star Sector has the Ludic Path, or the Ludic Church, I guess, is the thing there, sending out pilgrims. We've got a mining corporation. We might have multiple mining corporations. You can imagine there might be some competition between different mining corporations. We'll come up with another name for them later. Maybe some sort of tech exploitation corporation, something like that. And we might have some alien factions. And it does occur to me that we might have sort of alien factions also expanding from the Alpha Sector, but we might have native beta factions as well. So maybe there's sort of a friendly alien faction here. So the idea is to create some opportunities for different factions, and then for different sort of things to happen between factions. Okay, so that's some of the lore of the game, and there's more stuff here. So how does that get expressed in the game itself? So we have this notion of situations, and we have plots. Plot, what do we call this? We'll call this, I call it PL Beyonders. So this is the main plot. Plot PL precursors. This is the ancillary plot. And then we're going to have a set of other plots that represent different types of situations. So the Beyonders is not a situation. The precursors are not a situation. I'm just going to give them, because I have to give something here for the moment. They require this. I should maybe go back and take out those requirements out. I'm not entirely sure. So we have this notion that we've got a couple of plots going on here, and the plots can have multiple stages, and we can have an on-advance handler, which responds to plot.advance. And that allows us to link stuff together. So the Beyonder plot and the precursor plot are currently active at stage 0. Actually, are they active? That is a good question. I'm not actually sure if they are active. Let's go have a look at res a second. Right. Let's go have a look at how plots work. I need to remind myself. So here we can see, so we don't actually have the notion of plots being active. That's interesting. I think maybe if I go look in the standard library at the defaults, I'm guessing the default stage is 0. Here we go. Right, so we do actually have, we've got a property for active and stage. So what we want to do is say active true, active true. Okay, so these two plots are going to be active from the beginning. And so part of the game is going to be what do these plots do, and how do they advance? And the way I'm thinking is that these will advance through situations. So we have this notion here that we've got plots that are situations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an alias for plot, and I'm going to give it some defaults. The first default I'm going to give it is the situation tag. And we're going to give these situations are going to have, actually, a priority mechanism could be useful here. So what does a plot have? It has a time limit. Don't know what it is yet, but so the notion that plots have a certain amount of time, this throws up a question. What is the unit of time in the game? And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create an object. I'll call it clock. Does it make sense to use days, weeks, months? We've got ships flying around. We haven't thought too much about the mechanism by which they fly around yet. So I'm going to go with days. This is going to be a global. So we'll be able to say $clock in our code and refer to clock.day to see what the day is. So a situation will have, we might have a start day. And time limit. So that would be number of days before something happens. So the idea is the game generates situations. And what we're going to do is we're going to say situation. So let's try and do this dynamically. So medical emergency. So sit medical emergency. So this is going to be a situation. And we're going to give it a time limit of 30 days, right? So if this situation arises, you will have 30 days to respond. Now, where is it going to go? This brings us to star systems, which is the next thing I need to think about. So we've got this notion of systems. So we've got gateway is at the center of a volume of space. So we've got the sector. Where are the systems? And I've had this idea that we will generate the systems randomly in the game. So we'll use an onInit handler. And to begin with, I'm not going to populate it with many. In fact, initial systems, let's just have 5. Um, and the way I've been thinking about doing this is radial generation. So in the first place, I'm using a 2D map. So it's going to be 2D. And we're going to have core systems, inner systems, mid systems, and outer systems. So what I'm planning to do is use actually, how do you type a theta? R theta. So I'm going to use R theta. So we're going to use an angle and a distance. And let's say, I haven't decided what the units are yet, and I'm not sure that's important. But let's say this is, so this is kind of up to 10 away. Inner systems are up to 25 away. Mid systems are up to 50 away. And outer systems are over 50 away, just as a starting point, right? So what that means is here, R will be some right, need to go check on my standard library functions. So what do I add to math for generating random values? Somewhere in here. We've got a lot of interesting stuff for generating different forms of randomness, like central limit rands for generating sort of approximately normally distributed random values. That could be more useful than just regular random, but rand int with a limit is what we're after here. So this will give us values between 0 and 10, integer values between 0 and 10. And then we want an angle. So let R theta. Right. So, right, we want, we're going to use a basic trig here. So that gives us our radius in the core system. And then now I can't remember if we're doing degrees or radians. We're doing radians, aren't we? So this is actually going to be rand f, I think. Do we have in fact, actually, that's just a regular random, isn't it? That is what we get. Math.random. Yeah. Okay. So that's going to be 2 times JavaScript give you pi math.random. Actually, that's a good question. I don't know if does JavaScript have math.pi? It must it surely. Is that pi? Yeah. Okay. Beautiful. Right. Okay. So it's capitalized math.pi.random. So let's. So what we want to do is. So the idea is we're going to have a cluster up to 10 away, and then we'll have a cluster up to 25 away, and then a cluster 25 to 50 away, and then a cluster 50 away. So let's say core system count, let's say there's 3, inner system count, let's say 5, mid system count 5, outer system count 5. Okay, let's just make them all 5 for the moment. So we're just going to play with, does this work? So we're procedurally generating systems. So okay, so we do that. Oh shit! Right, where was it? Here we go. Okay, so we do that, and then so we're going to have x and y. So then x is going to be crap, I can't remember basic trig. Right, convert r theta to xy. So we're doing Cartesian to polar, and we're going to be, yes, that's fine. So it's cosine for x and sine for y. So math dot cosine theta, it's multiplied by r here. So r there, y is r times math sine theta, and that should give us an xy position. And then I've already got this star system here. So we want to create star system SY template, just call it that, make it a template. So const system is SY template dot copy with auto ID. So we copy the template and we say system.x is equal to r times math cos theta, system.y is r times math.sine theta, and system.name is system names random remaining. Okay. Right, so then we say game.add game object system. So we add it to the game. That's something I forgot to do in the previous stream. And I also need to be able to spell system. And then we're going to have systems. And so we're going to systems, this dot systems dot push system.id. Okay, I don't know if this is going to work. Let's try it out. What have we got here wrong? So missing stages, missing priority on fleet command line 80. What did I do wrong here? Line 80. Oh, right, okay. Yes, I didn't put those in. So stages 1, priority 1, just for now. Okay, right, so let's see what's happened. Let's reload. It's gone bang. It doesn't like this core system count. Why not? What's wrong with that? This is, of course, yes. Okay, in initializers, we don't have this. We have sector, sector.systems.push. That's the only place I used it, right? Okay, the compiler's so much quicker now. It's beautiful. Okay, well, one thing you can see here is we've got undefined. That's good. That means that is working. We haven't bugged out this time. So now if we go to sector, we've got our sector object, and hopefully it's got some systems in it. If we go poke around in attributes, systems, okay, you see SY template 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's actually done that. And if we go SY template 1, you can see we've got here an object. It should have an X value and a Y value, which it does, and a name. Okay, so the Katsari system that's good. Two has a name, Allore. Three, Biparax, and three's X value looks pretty much about right. Yeah, let's try system 4, Y value, X value. Okay, so that's looking promising. Right, so generates, so let's put this into a function. And really the only determinant of the function is R, is the bound on R here. So let's call this generate system. Function which takes distance. In fact, it's going to take min distance and max distance. And then we're going to grab all of this stuff here and put it in here. Right. This is going to be we want and we need to use a new function which is going to be rand in between min dist and max dist. So that's a function that res has to give you random integers between two values. So here what we're going to do is we're going to say so this is going to be sector.generate system, and in the call we're going to go 0 to, we're not going to go 0, we're going to go 1 to 10. Did we try? Oh, yeah. Okay, we've got a trailing thing here. And then we want inner system count. And this is going to be between 11, what I say, and 25. And then we got the out mid-system count. And it's going to be between 26 and 50. And outer system count. And this can be between 51 and 100. Okay, so if I haven't gone too badly wrong, let's just go recompile. And something's blown up here, and that's because R was not defined. And that's because they should be here. We can now make R a const, we can make theta a const, we can make X a const, we can make Y a const, we can make that X and that Y. And this now becomes this because it's now in the context of a calling object. Okay. Right, okay, so let's add in, we may not have it later, but let's add sector.res. So I'm going to have scene, sc sectors, and its layout is going to be just this for the moment. And its initial card ID will be C system list. And we're going to create card C system list, and its content is going to be, we're going to say bindings, we're going to say sector, going to be bound to the object with ID sector, and then we're going to do for each, let's put it in a list, so we're going to have a UL, and then we'll do for each system, my typing has not improved. Sector.systems. And we're going to have an li here, and we're going to put in system.name. So let's just get a sense of does that work in the first place? Oh, I love the speed of the compiler now. We need to put that into the sidebar so we can go look at it. So we'll put in here, scene is going to be SC sector map. Okay, and we need to also incorporate the sector scene. Okay, so we've got the sector map and it doesn't work. No such ID found SC sector. Is that right? Did we not call it SC sector? What do we call it here? We called it SC sectors. Right, let's knew even as I was naming that, I'd done that inconsistently. SC sectors, so we go back here and we say this is sectors and this is, wait a second, no. One sector, multiple systems. Sector, system list. Okay, sector. Okay, that's better. Okay, so we go to the sector map and we get a whole bunch of undefined, but we get roughly the right number of undefined. So that's interesting. So if we get sector.systems, yes. Okay, so that's because we're maintaining a list of IDs. This is very important when working with Res. We do not add object references to things. We add IDs to things for reasons which will become apparent later. So in here where we've generated these systems, we are adding the ID here. Now, because Res understands that we do this, it provides a way of making life slightly simpler. So we do star sector.systems. And now we can just do systems here and everything magically should work. Boom. Okay. So we have our systems. And what we can do is we can system.x system.y. Let's just see how that looks. Okay, right. So does it look right? We've got this one, that's minus 49. That looks kind of plausible. 58. Yes, not 100% certain that that's worked. 97. Okay, that looks plausible. 79. Yeah, okay. So we've got our systems here. Right, so what did I just do? So we know that sector.systems is, if we go here, here's the object sector, here's systems, it's defined to be an array of things, and we're pushing IDs in there. Because we do this so often, we have a special syntax in the bindings here. If I put star in front of this, it says, I'm expecting this to be a list of IDs. Just go dereference all of those IDs for me and turn them into object references. So this binding here is actually a list of system objects. In the game itself, what I would like to do is actually turn this into a map so that you can see these systems. I figure I can probably do that with SVG and maybe even do a reasonable job of that. And then we can start plotting ships en route to systems, although that is obviously a fair way down the line. So what we've done is we've added a set of systems, but we haven't added gateway. So the first thing we need to do is add gateway. Gateway is at 0, 0. So what we do here is we say this sector.systems.push SC gateway. And because we're pushing IDs in here, we push this. And if we really want to be, in fact, actually, I was going to say, if we really want to be proper about it, we should probably say gateway is, and in fact, you'll notice I did get that wrong. So we can do it like that. That will make sure that we do actually have the right object. So now if we reload, actually what we can do is, just to make life simpler, let's start in sector. start it in the sector. Okay, right, so we see gateways at 0, and we've got our other systems. We could sort them by distance. Actually, plausibly, what we could do, what we could do is actually keep R. I don't necessarily think we need to keep theta, although maybe at some point if we're plotting them, it might make sense to keep theta, but we can certainly keep R. And now what we can do in here is now, is this going to work? I think it is. I'm now pushing the boundaries of both, reminding myself about JavaScript. I think it's array we want here, isn't it? Array, sort. How does that work? How does sorting work here? Compare function A and B. Okay. Negative means A should come before B. So A is smaller than B. Right, so sort. So we'll get system1, system2, system1.r minus system2.r. I think we'll do what we want. This is a lesser known bit of res, and in fact I wouldn't do this, not entirely sure that's going to work. And what we can do is we can actually throw the debugger in here. This is one of the nice things about working in res is, hello, what's going on here? Where's the console gone? Systems is not defined. Yeah, okay, this, I wasn't sure this would work. Now, it's possible, it is possible that this might work. Is bindings declared? No, it isn't. But we get the block. So we should be able to do block.bindings.systems. So we should have block in scope, and block should have bindings. It has a bindings function. Oh, okay, that's interesting. I've never tried to do this before, and it's really pushing what this mechanism is meant to do. What is the block here? Its source is a card. Its source is a card called system list. Okay, so we've got the block for this. I don't necessarily think there's any way of getting to what I want here. So what I'm going to do, instead of faffing around like this, let's go back to the sector and have sorted systems as a function. In fact, we're going to have it as a property. That should make it slightly easy to work with. So we've got this.systems, and then we're going to use a function defined on array, which is called refs. So that will turn it into what we want: sort system1, system2, system1.r minus system2.r. Okay, so we now have sorted systems as a property. So we can now say sector system to sector.sorted systems. Okay, hopefully that works. Right, okay, so let's print R out and just see what make sure that's working. It looks like it is working. That's interesting. R on that one's oh, of course, yes. Yeah. Gateway. Of course, gateway going to have R0. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, so we can see the systems are now sorted by distance, and they look about right. So we've got some that are in the 50 to 100, we've got some up to 50, some between 10 and 25, and some between 1 and 5. Was it 1 and 10? I can't remember where I set it. So we've got our systems now. And actually what we might do, I don't know, from a narrative perspective, we might do different things in different types of system. So I think what we're going to do, so first thing is we're going to have this return the system. And then we're going to say here, sector dot, so this is core systems. So say let system. So the core is going to include, so core systems dot push gateway ID. Now, if you're expecting me to be creating some kind of parser game, you might be thinking to yourself, well, bloody hell, what the hell is this guy doing? And that'll be fair enough, because I'm not creating anything like that. This is not going to be that kind of a game. So system, generate system. There's something that needs to be factored out of this. So this is going to be inner systems. Okay, so we generate these, and done it again. Invalid keystroke. Problem exists between chair and keyboard. Okay, so I'm going to assume that at some point it's going to be relevant to us. So the outer systems are where the beyonders are hiding. Okay, so we want to make those sufficiently hard to get to, far out, that until it becomes really necessary, the player's not particularly encouraged to go pushing out into the outer systems. Okay, and of course, what have I done wrong? Core systems, sector. I love the speed of the compiler. It really does make this a lot easier to deal with. Okay, so we've got some systems here. I've been streaming for about, I guess, somewhere about an hour. I mean, I don't imagine any people are going to ever watch this. That's not really the point. I mean, I'd love some feedback. I'd love to know if any of this is interesting. But the point really is to help me make progress on making the game. So my reason for creating systems was I want to create a situation. So we have this medical emergency, and this is going to have system ID. Boom. Right. And we're going to say on copy. So this is going to be a template. It's going to have a system ID, situation. Right. Okay, so when we make an emergency, a medical emergency, we need to pick a system. So the sector, let's grab the sector. In fact, actually, because the sector is the sector, it's already a global, so we can refer to it that way. So we can just say sector. Let's say medical emergencies can happen in the inner system. Right, so so we're not going to set a time limit here now. We're going to say this is math round in between, say, 30 and 60. Severity, situation dot severity, math round in between 1 and 10, and inner systems dot random element, situation dot sector ID. Okay, so when we copy the medical emergency, it's going to get a time limit, a severity, and a sector from the inner systems. And this is an array of IDs, so we'll assign an ID, but by the magic of res, sector will be a thing. So let's just go in here, let it rebuild. So we call this situation medical emergency. Let's grab the template, copy with auto ID. Okay, so we get a plot, and we get some attributes. So we've got severity 2, time limit 37. System ID has not been set properly. That's really? Oh, actually, that's maybe not true. Sit.system ID. Actually, that hasn't been set properly. What's going wrong here? It's not sector ID, it's system ID. Try that again. Okay. Boom. Okay, so medical emergency in the Tafuda system, and the Tafuda system is 19 light years, units, time distorts, whatever it is. So that's actually looking not bad. So now what we haven't done yet is wire this up to anything. But if we were to say game.add game object sit, we get an error. Okay, why do we get an error? Something's gone wrong here. Okay. Tags is an object. Well, that's mighty puzzling. Its tags have been set improperly. Let's just do that again. So reload that. Create the situation again. That's not a map, is it? That's not a set. Yeah, no, that's what a set looks like. So it looks like I've got a bug here. Set the default for situation to be tagged here. I mean, what I can do is put that in there. let's just take this out for a second. To turn it back to a plot, we'll set the tags directly, start day. Okay, let's just make sure that works. There's something a bit hinky about the way the defaults are getting set there. Let's just make sure that. Okay, that's puzzling. What's going on here? That's an object, not a set. I wonder, the tag's not getting copied? It might be a bug. Can I do this? I don't know if that works. Can you initialize? How do you initialize? New set foo. Does that work? No. Can we set it with an array? Yep. Okay. So for some reason that's not working right. When we copy the template, it's not setting the tags properly, but we can live with that. We can live with that. So we create our situation and we go look at its tags. Okay, that's fine. So we can now add game objects, sit. Okay, boom. So we have a new game object. Oh, we've got no way of getting back to the thing from here. So let's go grab this layout here, go in here, stuff this layout in here as well. Okay, oh yes. See sidebar. Okay. So we've got our situations here. So we're going to do that again. We're going to create this new situation. And we're going to add it to the game. And now when we come back here, we've got undefined. Good. That's what I thought we would get. Now, where was I? So we want the name here. And we're going to return medical emergency. Emergency on this.system.name. Okay. So we create our new situation, add it to the game, medical emergency on Vares. Okay, so now we have our first example of, I mean, I get it, it's not, go here. Okay, medical emergency on Alna, severity 4, 56 days left. We can go here, we can see where Alna is. Alna is 25 parsecs or something. I need to figure out. Right, okay, so let's just go back to the law a second. Okay, distances, what the hell is R? Parsecs, light years, AUs, what? Okay, right, so we've generated, albeit it's not particularly interesting, we've generated our first situation, procedural situation. We've got a medical emergency. Let's do another one. So plot situation, pirate raiders. This is a template. Its name. Oh, my typing just doesn't get any better. Pirate activity in this.system.name. I don't know if that's going to have a time limit. Stages 1, priority 1, start day, system ID. So in fact with this, now we can say, for example, pirates are not going to be in the inner systems because the TSF can reach them. So this is going to be mid systems. Again, law-wise, I guess this depends upon which systems are settled and by which faction. We don't have that. We don't have that right now. Okay. So we can get rid of these now. Pirate raid, medical emergency. We're going to keep this one, but we're going to get rid of this tag for the moment. Right. So pirate activity in a particular system is going to be a mid system. So we should have nothing in the situation list now. We don't. So let's go add a medical emergency, and let's go add, was it pirate activity? Should be pirate activity, but what's it called? Actually called pirate raiders. All right. Let's add some pirate raiders. Okay, so now when we go to situations, we've got a medical emergency on Irion, and we've got pirate activity in Unsure. Unsure should be 35, yeah. Okay, so we've now got the basis for adding the situations. At the moment, ships are just objects. They don't have a position or anything like that, and they don't have a crew. I think that's probably one of the next things to work on is giving them some kind of crew, and figuring out how a little bit about what does the main plot start with. So we might have a situation for precursor site. I can imagine we're going to have that. And we might well start with that plot being active, and these being resolved are going to move along the main plot for the precursors. So in fact, actually, this is kind of main plot 1, and this is main plot 2. I haven't thought too much about how that's going to work yet. But, okay, so I think a little bit of progress made there. We've now got some systems. They have a position in a sector, and then we can use that to generate some situations. So our situations are now becoming dynamic. So I think I'm going to stop there. If you found this interesting, please leave a comment, and I will do another stream quite soon.